Welcome back to the Ryan Dunston podcast, Words from a Humble King. I got a special guest here with me today, Mr. Gene Frazier, VP at Highlands Residential Mortgage, leader, and the thought, the mind behind the Gene Frazier team and a lot of the things that we're doing, which we'll get into a little later on in this conversation. But I think this conversation is going to be really special to me because I think that it has a lot to do with our purpose, which I want to talk to you about here.
Right.
And a lot of what you do, a lot of the way that you structure your business is from the heart. Right. And that's a lot of what, the podcast is about, the way I approach, the mortgage industry, real estate industry. How can I be of service? Right. But true impact, not necessarily come put a Band-Aid on something or it's just a transaction. Right. It's like we care. And I think that's the reason why being on your team just kind of settled me a little bit. Because I remember when I first got to you, man, I was like, I'm looking to grow. I don't quite know what this is, right? But I'm looking to do something different with my life. And you were able to kind of show me how to do business through love, right? Through care, through understanding, through compassion, right? And it doesn't mean that you don't have a lion in you.
Right.
It just simply means your meekness stands. I have seen you angry. I've seen you angry. But the way you regulate your emotion and then the way you keep purpose top of mind, I really admire that. So I guess let's just start off with this. How did you get to a point where you just started to actually love for a living as opposed to be a mortgage loan officer?
That's an interesting question. I don't know, man. I think that comes naturally. Being a family man, being raised by love, and I get that I was blessed. I wasn't raised in a two-parent household. My parents split when I was young, but there was always a lot of love and support around me. Everybody hasn't been blessed, to have that kind of upbringing. So, but I tell you what, I do seek to bring, have love to be like this guiding force and this underlying principle to everything that I do. And I just think that, there is a scripture in the Bible, it basically says love never fails, right? And so you just always, man, you can have some setbacks leading with love, but it never fails long term. Right. If you make that just part of your core. And so when we think about our business, if we approach it from a standpoint of loving our fellow man and trying to really improve their lives, ultimately we may have some setbacks, but we always in the end win. So never really thought about it that way. It's just kind of like how I'm wired. But I think that's how a lot of people, that's how we're naturally wired. Right. But what happens is everybody's sort of naturally wired to love, I think. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
But what happens is over time they get beat down.
Yeah.
And then the reflexivity and the survival mode kicks in.
Yeah.
Right. And instead of leading with love, you're basically self-preservation instincts kick in.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And that actually segues us into one of the programs we have here at our firm, right? Life does beat you down, man. And, I do believe also that love endures, right? Love also wins in the end. And I think that's the reason why you've kind of developed this program, which I'm excited about, actually, right? This mortgage coach, this mortgage success program that we're actually launching. And we're launching it in a time where the market is actually getting a bit better, that kind of stuff. But the motivation behind it was kind of a no man left behind kind of an understanding. I remember going to Memphis with you 2 years ago, and we were sitting at lunch or breakfast, and you were telling me that the homeownership rate was at 42% for like 34 years.
Right, for black
people. Right. And I just looked it up before we started this conversation, and it's only at 44.2% as of 2023.
Right.
And it's that way for a few different reasons. And there's a lot of complexities in the whys. But I guess let's just start with this. Let's talk about why you created the program, and then how do we actually speak to the fears and the reasoning that you're getting ready to provide as to why you've actually launched this program.
Well, look, I mean, we don't, there's a lot of reasons, as you say, why we are where we are. But we do recognize that some of those reasons have to do with things that a lack of education. People don't even understand what is possible for them. Fear, mistrust, not feeling like you have someone that you can trust to help you get to where you want to go. Not feeling like you have hit some roadblocks and obstacles in life, and that basically that means that you can't ever get past them, right? And so sometimes what people just need is somebody to help them, right? And so, the thought behind what we're trying to do together here is that people are often afraid to take the first step towards homeownership because they think the first step is contacting a loan officer or a mortgage company or a realtor and applying for a mortgage loan. And ultimately, that's where you need to go. But that's not the first step, right? The first step is just starting to prepare, get educated. And then, if you've had some issues, and even if you haven't had issues, you just don't even know where to begin. Just having someone that you can trust to help you, to kind of be a coach, accountability partner, a guide, to get to the point where you're ready to take that step to apply. And so that's where you come in, right? We've had you work through and become the Freddie Mac Credit Smart certified coach, and where you've really digested their program, and you can talk a little bit about what that taught you when you went through that program. But also the fact that you've done that, but also you are who you are. You are someone that actually instinctively cares and loves on people, and you have a spirit about you that is uplifting, right? You want to build people up, and I think people feel like they can relate, right? You can relate, and same with me. That's been a part of my career path as well. But sometimes when you are the loan officer, and for me, doing a lot of different things, not necessarily having as much time to be able to be that hands-on, day-to-day, resource for a client, I really felt it was necessary to bring somebody like you on board that can build trust, that truly cares about people, that has been trained to help people not actually get a loan, but be prepared to have a successful loan application. Because prepare them till they get to the point when they're ready to truly meet with me to do that loan application. Because when folks have that work done up front, then they can actually be maybe have less frustration. Because sometimes people jump into the process and they're not really ready. They get disappointed, and then they get smacked down, and then they don't come back, right? The idea with what we're doing is there's an entry point. People, hey, I'm happy to start the process. We'll start a process and do an application with anybody. And so some people that start and can't do anything today, they're going to be, we're going to funnel them to you. We'll tag team, but you're going to be that main point person that will be able to help stay in touch with them, keep them motivated, check in, give them information about new tools and resources that are available, create budgeting and spending plans, give credit information, all that kind of stuff. But then there's also people that's what we really are trying to reach. This is where I think we start to make the difference in terms of moving the needle to get the stats up, is the people that just won't start, right? People that won't start because they're scared, because they don't think they can, because they don't know anybody that they can trust to help them. That's who we're really trying to reach, right? Through what you're gonna be doing.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too, because you're right. I do think that fear plays a big game here, and I think the angles that fear kind of attack people, I think that they really kind of drown out the idea of homeownership through what fear is kind of telling them. And those fears, they're complex and they're different for many. One of the bigger ones for me is how people understand money. Right? People understand money, or there is a certain population that understand money from a scarcity mindset.
Right.
And it's hard to get that individual to unset their mind, right? Take their understanding. Not saying that you could do anything with it at the time, but the way I've found myself unlearning a lot of things was just deciding that the way I'm thinking is just simply wrong, and giving my mind a chance, or my brain a chance, to look for other things. But I first have to decide that it's wrong. And that's a hard thing to do. When someone's in fear, it's hard to tell someone while they're fearful, you're wrong about how you're thinking about this, because their experience is relative. The fear is relative to them, right? So there are forces, I believe, that's kind of dictating a lot of the actions for people that they don't always know they're being affected through their understandings, through things that that were probably true for their parents that are not true for them now, right? It's like they don't know that they have a chance to flip the script, almost, right? So how do you, I'm asked, and the program is structured, by the way, right? It's like a certified accountability partner. We're going to walk with you throughout the process, but speaking to the fear, speaking to what you don't know someone is dealing with, the approach, how do you think we should go about actually rolling out this program, not just to realtors, but to aspiring buyers who don't think that they could buy right now?
I think, man, it's just really just connecting with people and just being real and saying, look, I'm a resource. We're a resource to help you. And truly, if people just can have that trust that all I'm trying to do is help you, right? And I can help you, right? Know that you can, that you have their best interest in heart, and that you have the ability to help guide them on the pathway. And then I think that's where it begins, man. And I think as more people find success, in certain communities and segments of our community, they will spread the word. And hey, you know what? I was able to do this. I didn't ever think I could do this, but I did. Here's some folks that helped me. You should go talk to them as well. Right.
Yeah, I agree. That it is the start. I'm not saying that that's not the start. I'm a deep thinker, right? And it's natural for me. I just think that my time here in this business, I've kind of seen people want a certain thing, but not know how to obtain it, right? I've seen people speak a certain thing, but then their actions say something else. And I've seen people want home ownership, but not want to do the things they have to do in order to get or obtain home ownership. So I guess my mind had begun to kind of reach for individuals that I guess I'm trying to solve a problem for them. And because like I said, I don't think that they all know what they're dealing with. But I kind of think further into it because I really do want to be able to approach someone who's not even thinking about buying a house and be able to speak into that individual to change their mind.
Right. Well, and the one thing we do want to recognize is that everybody shouldn't buy a house, right? There's not people that aren't in a position to, or whatever the case may be. It's not the right time for everyone to buy a house,
which is the attribute of this program.
Right. But there are a lot of people that certainly should be on that pathway that won't take the steps necessary, or they keep procrastinating to put it, to put it off. And what happens, particularly right now, we are still in the middle of a cycle where property values, home values, particularly in the market that we're in, are continuing to rise. And folks that waited to do what it was necessary to become a homeowner have just missed out on some wealth creating opportunities, right? The people that have bought houses 2 years ago, that their home values up $50,000, in some cases more than that. What we want to do is just, help people not delay or be able to achieve their dreams, understand what's possible, and then get there quicker than they may think they can because they have some help.
Yeah.
Right. And so everybody doesn't have fear, right? A lot of people they don't have fear and everything. They're just like busy, or they don't understand where to start. They're just a little bit unfocused as well. We're helping those people out too. It's like, okay, I will help you kind of figure out what you need to do, and guide you sort of along the way. Again, the way we're designing this program is that your role is to just help be an accountability partner for folks, and give them information, help them prepare so that when it's time to do an actual mortgage application, they're going to meet with success. And even if they do the application and they're still not really ready, we do a real full-blown credit. We look at all their income and assets and all of that. It's fine. We'll put them on a plan, and then we'll together stay in touch with them. Check in with them, and just make sure they're on the path. We have people that we're working with like that right now, right? What we're looking to do is start to work with a lot more people that we can help along that pathway, because what happens is life gets in the way. People leave to start, and then they fall off because life gets in the way, right? And if you don't have someone helping you continue to keep your goal, first of all, have a clarity around the goal. That's what I talk about a lot. Having clarity around your goal, and then having a plan in place. And then when you actually have a clear goal and a plan, and you share that with people that trust, that care about you, that can help you stay accountable to that, no matter if some things come along the way to help kind of knock you off course, that will help you get to your goal faster than if you don't have that assistance. And that's what we're trying to do.
No, I'm excited about this. It's going to be a really, really structured program. We've tried this before with these home buying groups, and but we've learned some things, and I really think we do have a playbook here that's going to help a lot of people. A lot of people will receive a personalized roadmap to be able to get to where you want to be. The goals will be specific to your circumstances. So I'm excited to really get people into the program and start rolling people out to home ownership. You got another thing rolling here though. Flip the script, right? This renovation education piece that you are excited to have people understand better, right? Because there's a lot of fear surrounding that process, that people are kind of looking at it, judging it without the proper information, or without enough information to really properly judge whether or not it's a good decision to make or whether it's not. Speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, something I'm really passionate about is helping people understand, or demystifying the process of purchasing a home that might need some work, because there's a lot of benefits that go along with that. I've kind of broken it down to like 5 key strategies that we help walk people through. One is an equity strategy, where they can actually, by buying a property that needs work, they put that work into it, they become, in essence, a developer. What a developer does is simple. They take something and improve it and increase its value, right? And so, and as a result, there should be some income or gain through that increased value, over and above the cost that you put into the development process. And so, you can be your own developer, right? Whether it's just for your one house, or ultimately do multiple properties and everything. So we want to teach people how that works, demystify it. We also talk about, people look at things, people, when they buy properties, they think about delaying the improvements, whether they be customization based improvements or future repair type of improvements, say a HVAC system or something like that only is going to last for another 2 or 3 years. You talk about and teach people why it makes sense to actually get that stuff taken care of right up front when you purchase the property, because it actually is a better financial decision. So we're teaching people how that works. And then there's also some things you can do in terms of how, right now, we're probably getting ready to get back into a market where it's going to be hyper competitive. Because as interest rates drop,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to bring more buyers to the market. We still don't have a ton of inventory. So the better inventory, the better houses are going to have a lot of competition. So you're going to find that folks having to kind of be very competitive with their bids. Now, two things to that. You buy, if you kind of focus on the property that needs some work, there's a little bit less competition there,
For sure.
right? And you can build that equity yourself instead of necessarily competing with that property that was already flipped and an investor or developer already put their profit into the deal, right? But also, if you there's some things we can do. I can teach you how to do with using renovation financing to make your offer on a property to be more competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a whole conversation and some training around that we're going to be rolling out. And then finally, there's an income strategy because people can actually take renovation financing and buy a home and actually add income producing potential to it by adding an accessory dwelling unit to the property. And that's something that's really, really becoming a trend, nowadays as well. So we'll talk about that. And there's some other, ancillary type of strategies and benefits to the renovation process as well that we're teaching on. So we're kicking off. We just recorded a session that we went out to a property. We're going to be doing this. The goal is to go do one a week, right? We're going to visit a property and we tour it, look at it on video with a seasoned consultant, contractor, appraiser that can give us that walkthrough and explain what are the considerations for this type of property. What should you do? What could you do? What shouldn't you do? Then we'll start to dive into the numbers. How much will it cost? And how do you finance it as well? So we can kind of give people a really visual on actually how this works. And I think that will make it real for people, right?
Yeah. No, it will. And I'm excited to roll that out too, because it gives you another choice, right? And there is power in a choice, right? Man, Gene, I know it's been tough trying to get you in this seat so we can have a conversation. I'm glad I was able to do it because I think that it's a lot of value in some of the things that we're getting ready to roll out. So I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it. But then I'm just glad I got a chance to hear how your mind works around some of this stuff, right? Because a lot of people, when it comes to financial institutions, I think the narrative out there is that we don't care. A lot of people think that
it's all about the money.
It's all about the money. They're a transaction. They're just a number on a sheet. And a lot of that plays in a lot of people's subconscious. And I just kind of really wanted them to see you see how your heart was postured when it came to financial institutions, but then the way you think about people.
This business, in the mortgage business, right? You actually have people that have kind of come and gone in the industry. The people that typically it's not everybody that's gone, but some of the people that are gone are the folks that kind of get into it for, like, it's just about the money, right? The longevity in this business, I've been in it for 28 years now, comes from the trust and the relationships that you build over time. I'm in some cases on third generation of folks, helping their people buy homes because of, taking care of people. You start by taking care of people, and but not just taking care of them, knowing what you're doing, being good. You got to be good at what you do, know what you're doing, be a solution provider, for folks, and then that they can trust. And then, success, will follow. So I that's my recommendation for anybody that's in this business, in any business, but in real estate, mortgage, start with knowing what you're doing, becoming a real expert, and have the skill set, but then have that attitude of service, and truly trying to take care of people, because then you will never, ever really want for business.
Yeah. Nah, I couldn't agree more. That's a great place to end it. I'm Ryan Dunston, mortgage success coach and business development here at Highlands Residential Mortgage. This is Mr. Gene Frazier, VP and area manager for the DMV area. And Highlands Residential Mortgage, if you're looking to buy a house, even if you're not ready, still hit us up. We have some things in place that could help you out. This is the Ryan Dunston podcast, and these are words from a humble king. I appreciate you joining me. Peace.